Naaman wants to find salvation through power and strength, but it can't be found that way. It won't be found that way because it is by grace you can be saved through faith. Faith not in how awesome you are or even all the great things you're going to do. It's faith in what God in his grace did for you when Jesus died on the cross. It's not of works because God doesn't want anybody to boast. Naaman's problem is his pride. And so God has got to tear down his pride. And God's got to say, you are helpless. You got nothing. You're only going to have my grace. And until you get that, you're never going to be saved. You see, the cross absolutely destroys our pride. Because the cross tells you that God's verdict on your life was death. You want to be like, how am I doing? God, how am I doing? And God says, how you doing? Death. That's how you're doing. And most people don't want to embrace that. Most people don't really want to wrestle with that. For most people, what keeps them from the gospel is they don't have the humility it requires to agree with God that the verdict on their entire life is death and hell. And they are powerless to do anything about it, and their only hope is grace. Y'all, we talk about how much we love grace. Oh, we sing about it. It's sweet. It makes us get sentimental. But we don't really, most of us want to be in a position where we really need it because it's insulting. I heard a great illustration of this. I had a friend who went with another friend who was leading a 1 month long camping trip for high school students, which sounds like the seventh circle of purgatory to me. But he went with them to lead these high school students, and this guy who was leading the trip had all the high school students. They were supposed to read a book in preparation for the trip. And so they get there to the first day of the trip, and they all strap up in their backpacks. Backpacks were like 50 pounds each. The first part of the hike is a 2-mile hike up to the crest of this mountain. And so the guide says, how many of you read the book that I assigned? And about half of them said they read it, and the other half admitted they didn't. He said, okay, I need everybody to take off their backpack because some of you are going to be carrying somebody else's bag up to the top of this hill. Now, everybody assumed, naturally, that he was going to have the people who did not read the book carry the backpack of those who did read the book as a kind of punishment. But my friend said he totally flipped it on him. He said, if you read the book, I want you to pick up, not just your backpack, I want you to pick up the backpack of somebody who did not read the book. And I want you to carry it for the next 2 miles. Now, my friend said, here was the thing. You would have expected that the kids carrying the extra weight would be whining, but they weren't. They felt awesome. Even though they had extra weight, they felt like the extra weight was a compliment to their competence and their strength, and that pride boost made them not mind the extra weight. It was the ones who weren't carrying their bags who hated the experience because they felt humiliated. Because we don't like to feel needy. We don't like to feel like we're dependent on the favors of others. We don't like to feel like we are dependent on grace. The question is, I know you say you love grace, but do you have the humility to actually come to Jesus and say, you got what I deserved? You took what I deserved. That was the verdict on my life. I did not get a gold star. I did not get a passing grade. I failed entirely and completely. And if you gave me what I deserved, I would be apart from you forever. Because that is where the gospel begins.